Welcome to this video from Techcanvass. In this video, I'm going to talk about implicit versus explicit requirements. My name is Abhishek Srivastava. I'm an IT professional, a blogger, and an author. These are some of the books which I have authored. Some of them are available on Amazon, and some of them are yet to be published on Amazon. Let's come back to our topic. Before we get into the topic, let's try and understand the literal meaning of implicit and explicit. Explicit is something which is stated clearly, whereas implicit, which is not stated clearly and which is hidden or implied from the explicit statements. These implicit requirements, if we consider them in terms of IT projects or the requirements gathering phase, they play an important role because they have been one of the major sources of problems in the IT projects, because they automatically surface at the time when the customers start looking at the software. By the time it's too late to recover from those problems. So my attempt is to just make you aware about implicit requirements are important, and there are some proven ways in which we can unearth the implicit requirements. To get a flavor of the implicit requirements, let's try and understand a simple example of an HR system. So there is a requirement for HR system stated in a couple of sentences here. It says the employees will have a designation representing their current position in a department and location. In case of a promotion, the designation will change and a history needs to be maintained with date of promotion. What is explicitly mentioned here is that every employee will have a designation, a department, and location. The promotion will result in the change of the designation, and the history has to be maintained for the promotion along with the date of the promotion. These are the explicitly stated requirements or sections of the requirements. Now, what is not stated and what could be implied from the requirements which are stated explicitly? When we try and read it carefully, we'll try to understand that a designation change because of a promotion may also result in a location change, because sometimes with the designation change or a promotion, the employees are transferred to a location to, for example, to have an independent charge of a branch. Does it need to be captured? That's a possibility of a hidden requirement. Second, there is a requirement of maintaining the history of the promotion. Now, if there is a requirement to maintain the history, there is a natural question that this data has to be shown to somebody when required. So does it mean you need to create a report for it? If yes, what is the format of the report? So as you can see, in simple requirement of 2 sentences, we can see the possibility of 2 hidden requirements. Imagine a full-fledged requirement for a software system. How many such implicit requirements can exist? So what is the impact of implicit requirements? What happens when there are implicit requirements and they are not understood at the time of requirements gathering? It will result into a product or a software application which is not meeting the customer expectations. And that will get manifested in the form of defects. If you try to fix the defects at the UAT stage, it will cost 100 times more, literally speaking, than if it could have been found at the requirement stage itself. That will also result into a schedule overrun. And finally, if there are too many such defects, it might end up having an unhappy customer, so that there's no possibility of a repeat business. And that's bad for any IT company or anybody who's involved in software development. So how do we find out implicit requirements? There are certain ways in which you can unearth these implicit requirements. One of the simplest ways is to start asking open-ended questions in the beginning of the project requirements or at the start of the requirements gathering phase. Open-ended questions are those questions where the customer has to provide an explanatory answer rather than an answer resulting into yes or no. Close-ended questions are only asked to confirm certain facts. So when we are talking about the transfers in our example, we are going to ask a question saying that what happens when a promotion results into a transfer? How do you capture that information? This cannot be answered in yes or a single word. Customer has to explain. That's how you start unearthing certain hidden requirements from the explicit requirements. That is one of the techniques. Second one is when you are analyzing the requirements, you will be using different kinds of techniques. For example, you will be decomposing them, breaking down the requirements into smaller parts. When you are breaking down the requirements, they automatically start creating the need for asking more questions. And when you ask more questions, you will get to understand all the hidden requirements which were not available to you earlier. The third is once the requirements are completed, you need to conduct verification and validation. These two activities also help in understanding all the hidden requirements, even if they might have been missed in the early stages. So when you are validating the requirements, you are basically presenting the detailed requirements in the form of maybe prototype screens, in terms of process diagrams, in terms of a product which is being sold to a customer. You are discussing everything in details, and that helps the customer also in confirming if their understanding of yours is completely in line with what they are looking for. These are some of the ways in which you can also get access to the implicit requirements and avoid the problem associated with implicit requirements. There are many other things which can be done during the requirements gathering phase to understand or to avoid not understanding implicit requirements, which is generally covered in the detailed business analysis requirements gathering phase when you are learning the subject in details. So thanks for being part of this video. Keep watching this space. We'll be covering more topics in the coming weeks. Thanks for being with us.